I didn't want to win 3 games in a row. I mean, 2 games, that's enough. Yeah, whatever. It's no big deal. Yeah.
Woohoo! This is stuff. We are in a week. Yeah. Can't get any better.
Hello, welcome to Hawks Recap. Game 63 has finished on this Saturday night, and the Blackhawks lose to the Columbus Blue Jackets by a score of 3-2, snapping their tremendous 2-game winning streak. Now, if we isolate this, if we look at this in isolation, this back-to-back, you love to win both games, but in the NHL, it's extremely difficult for any team to win both games on a back-to-back. Playing 2 nights in a row, it's tough. Especially when you're playing one game with your backup goalie, probably against the other team's starter. Now, in this case, we're playing our backup, or one of our backups, against a 2-time Vezina Trophy winner. So the odds weren't really stacked in our favor. But with that said, losing still sucks. So a little bit of a disclosure here. I had a beer league hockey game tonight, so I was only able to catch the first period in this game. Now, on nights like these, usually I'm able to watch the rest of the game when I get home before I do these videos. However, this game was broadcasted on NHL Network, which means it was blacked out for NHL TV subscribers like myself. So I couldn't really do that. So for the latter 2 periods, I'm basically looking at some highlights and box score and just general rumblings that I see kind of on the interwebs. So apologies for that. But let's talk about the first period in which I actually did watch. One of the things you try to do as a road team is try and get on the board early, try to get that 1-0 lead to try and take that home crowd out of the game. And the Hawks do a really good job in that sense because a minute and a half into the game, they grab the lead on the forecheck, creating a turnover like they did so much in that San Jose game. They take that and get it into this game. Hinostroza gets the puck. He gets it over to Hartman in the slot. Hartman just puts a backhand on net, and it goes off Camp's shin pad, I believe, and past Bobrovsky and into the back of net. The Hawks grab the early lead. They're up 1-0. The Blue Jackets would end up outshooting the Blackhawks 15-11 in this first period, but I thought the Hawks did a pretty darn good job limiting the effectiveness of the shots that the Blue Jackets were taking. So it wasn't a whole lot of high danger situations. They made it fairly easy for Forsberg to make saves, and Forsberg made the saves when he had to. He was solid in this first period. However, late in the first, the Blue Jackets get on the power play after Hartman just a reckless penalty, high sticking way behind the play. I think the Hawks had like an odd man rush going on, and Hartman just tries to hook the guy and prevent a back check, and he just gets his stick up high. Just a really bad penalty. And Q actually ended up benching him for basically the remainder of this game, which I feel like is a little harsh, but it was a really dumb penalty. I'm a little torn on it. I want to hear your thoughts on Hartman's lack of ice time in this game, presumably because of this penalty. I think he only had 4 minutes this entire game of ice time. So let me know down in the comments what you thought of that, because it was a head scratcher a little bit, at least when I look at the box score. So the Blue Jackets are on the power play, a little over 2 minutes left to play in the first period. And of course, Pat Foley jinxed the Blackhawks here by saying that the Blue Jackets have the worst power play in the league. That can only mean one thing. Yep, the Blue Jackets score. They actually get a nice screen out in front of Forsberg. I don't think he ever saw the puck, and Atkinson just snipes it by him. And this game is 1-1 heading into the second. And because of the dumb, archaic blackout rules around broadcasted games, that would be all I would see in this game. Just so dumb. Just so freaking dumb. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. That's one of the worst parts about being a Blackhawks fan, is because of the success they've had this past decade. They get a lot of nationally televised games, and then even games that are on NHL Network, which is on a cable package that not a whole lot of people get. I can't watch it on a subscription by the league, NHL TV, in which I pay for. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But hey, that's the reality of capitalism, I guess. Woohoo. And they wonder why people illegally stream things. Like, seriously. If it makes you feel any better, though, I did get a goal in my beer league game, so I got that going for me, which is kind of nice. So we go into the second period tied at 1, but a little under halfway through this period, the Blackhawks would grab the lead once again. An absolute gorgeous stretch pass from Gustafsson finds Kane, and this pass would be completely illegal if the archaic 2-line pass rule was still in play. This pass went like 3 lines, and it banked off the boards. It was a thing of beauty. It really was. Kane gets the puck up the right-hand side. He finds Yurko, who is in a soft spot in the offensive zone created from Anisimov driving the net hard. Yurko snipes the puck past Bobrovsky, and the Hawks are up 2-1. Pat Foley mentioned that this was Yurko's first goal as a Blackhawk. That's not really true. Unless he meant first goal this year as a Blackhawk, then it would be true. But he had a single goal last year, so yeah. The Blackhawks' 2-1 lead would last an entire 5 minutes before the Blue Jackets would find themselves on a 2-on-1 headed by Artemi Panarin, and us Blackhawks fans know quite well that situation is not what you want as an opposing team. Osterley would do a poor job taking away the passing lane. Panarin would get the puck over to Dubois, who would then one-time it by a sprawling Forsberg, trying to do his best Jonathan Quick impression. Unsuccessful, to say the least, but you can't really blame him because he's got to expect his defenseman to take away that pass, take away that other shooter, and he's got to deal with the very reality, the fact that Artemi Panarin, a sniper, just might shoot that puck, and good luck if he does. The Blackhawks did have 2 power plays in the second period. I didn't see them, obviously, but they obviously were unsuccessful, to everyone's surprise. They went 0 for 3 on the power play in this game. The Blue Jackets, meanwhile, went 1 for 1. Kind of the difference in this game, but instead of capitalizing on these power plays, this game goes into the third period tied at 2. This game would stay tied for most of the third period, a little under 9 minutes left to go in the game. Josh Anderson with the puck on the left-hand side. He's pretty much all alone, no friends to help him, so he just throws the puck on net, and it squeaks by Forsberg. A very, very soft goal for Forsberg to give up, and unfortunately it's also the game winner in this one. On the flip side, the Blackhawks had a number of good looks in the third period. Brandon Saad with a couple of great opportunities right on the doorstep of Bobrovsky somehow makes a save, showing why he's won the Vezina a couple times. And you look at the matchup here, Blue Jackets with a very, very good starting goaltender versus the Blackhawks, who have a backup goaltender, and sometimes these are the bounces you get with that matchup. And I'm not saying that's the reason this game didn't fall in the Blackhawks' favor, but certainly it didn't help. So the Blackhawks lose this game 3-2 and finish off the month of February with a 3-9-1 record. That is the opposite of a good month. Up next for the Blackhawks, they have 4 days off before going on a 3-game West Coast California road trip, starting it off with the San Jose Sharks again. But between now and then, the NHL has its trade deadline, and there's been plenty of rumors swirling already on that front. It'll be interesting to see what the Blackhawks do before the deadline. Do they have another trade or two to complement the trade they already made involving Michael Kempny, or maybe they sit pretty until the offseason? Who knows? But regardless of what they do or do not do, I will be making a video on it. So I promise you that during these 4 days of no games, this channel will not be dead. I promise you that. Thanks for watching this episode of Hawks Recap. I really hope you enjoyed it. At least I hope you enjoyed it more than the result of this game. Let me know your thoughts on the game and the team's performance down in the comments section below. Like, share, and subscribe. I always appreciate that. But most importantly, as always, stay safe and make good decisions, and I'll see you next time.